The log decomposition project is based in the Kalabakan Forest Reserve, specifically at the SAFE project site in northern Borneo. The aim of the workshop is to create a virtual rainforest using the SAFE project site as the model of the virtual rainforest. So this entails getting as many data as possible on the ecological processes occurring in the forest, be it living and non-living components of it, and of course the decomposition rate of logs and biotic and abiotic factors that contribute to this decomposition is a key factor that needs to be modeled. So in this project, we're looking at the decomposition rate of logs of 3 different species. So there's Kuruing, Dipterocarpus codiferus, Urat mata, Paraschoria melanonan, and Laran, Neolamarchia cadamba. So these 3 species, they have distinct range of wood density, but these wood densities overlap. So at the end of the project, we can get the decomposition rate of logs across a wide density gradient, and also at 2 different site environments. So there's a set of logs that are placed at a simulated landing site, and there are logs left on the forest floor. So after the trees are felled in the forest, the logs would be carried to a landing site. So landing site is usually located on the side of roads. And at the landing sites, the logs would usually be debarked to allow for the logs to dry a bit. So the drying process helps the log to, helps lighten the logs, so it's easier to transport them to a stamping yard. So that's when the logs at another temporary storage site before the logs are sent to sawmills to be processed into plywood, into lumber, etc. So the main problem with the current practice is that because of red tapes in the logging industry, so sometimes the logs will be left at the landing site for up to 4 months. And during this period, the logs will dry extremely rapidly, and that would cause damages to the logs like splitting, and also because they are carried outside of the environment, they are more prone to attacks by invertebrates like boring beetles and fungi. So all of these effects would altogether lower the value of the logs, and that would incur huge losses to sawmill operators. So it's not a sustainable practice. So we're trying to get quantitative data to that will hopefully be used to change the policies on how logging from natural forests are carried out. So the second part of the project is on the log decomposition on the forest floor. So this one concerns the rate. This one is primarily an academic study because we're interested in seeing how fast the logs decompose, and in turn this data would tell us, that would contribute to the carbon cycling, because that logs on the forest floor play a major role in carbon sequestration and carbon efflux, and they're also important in providing habitats and food for invertebrates and forest flora, especially mosses and fungi. Yeah. One of the benefits to the environment is that you'll get less wastage in the logging industry, because most of the logs that have deteriorated at the landing site, you lose up to, well, according to anecdotal evidence, 80% of the logs. So 80% of the logs that are carried, that are from trees that are felled from natural forests and then transported to the sawmill, can't be used anymore. So that's a huge loss. So most of the waste will be used as fuel wood, and that's not good for the logging industry in the long run, because now there's a lot more pressure for the logging industry to have less carbon footprint. yeah, so that's one way this project can be can contribute to environmental sustainability. So deadwood in tropical forests may account for 30% of the biomass, but at the SAFE project, I believe our collaborator Utah did a study on this. It may account up to 50%. So that logs on the forest floor constitute a major component of carbon storage. So to understand the dynamics of this carbon that are stored in the deadwood would, would contribute to a model that can be extrapolated to highlight the importance of deadwood in forest ecosystems. And they are also important because they leach nutrients into the soil, so they would help maintain soil nutrition, forest soil fertility, and they also provide habitats and food to small invertebrates and numerous flora and fauna, as well as animals that feed on these symbionts. For now, we only have data from observations in the field and just some basic physical characteristics of the logs throughout the first 5 months. So the lab analysis would take longer, and the last sampling time point will be in October. So hopefully within next year we'll get publications out reporting the whole findings of the study. So there's going to be several studies. We're also looking at fungal communities associated with the dead and decaying logs. So sap-stained fungi is one of our main interests in the offshoot project, because sap-stained fungi, some of them like ceratocystis, are implicated in fatal disease of acacia. So because these logs are potentially going to be exported to foreign countries, so there's a risk of introducing fungi that are otherwise outside of their native range. So there's biosecurity issues associated with these fungi.